Hello, and welcome back to another Wildlife Wednesday. Today I am out here on Rockledge Cliff. It's a very familiar cliff to people that have been around, hiked around Bethel. If you've ever been here before, there's a good chance you have made a visit to Rockledge Cliff. It's a spot that many campers will come to, many counselors during the summer will come to, and many retreat guests will come to during the winter, fall, and spring months as well. It is not the highlight of today's video. The highlight of today's video, in fact, is a new trail going off the backside of Rockledge. Now, in the past, you would come up here via this trail here, right behind me, and you would walk on that trail. You'd walk through here, and you would head straight out there towards the cliff. And you would have a fantastic time looking off the cliff and enjoying the beauty of Bethel's Valley. However, there's a new trail right down here. A new trail called Broken Rock. And today, I will be taking you on a hike, a virtual hike that is, on Broken Rock Trail, our newest trail, and dare I say, maybe our most spectacular to date. Now, as I begin this trail, there's clear evidence as to why it got its name, Broken Rock. Many broken rocks and many exposed small little cliffs and rock features that will show themselves on this early portion of the trail. The trail is actually quite long, and it takes you through a variety of ecosystems, which you will shortly see, ranging from dry cliffside all the way down into a wetland environment. The trail begins with a series of switchbacks headed down a very steep section of Bethel's property here, because there is indeed a cliff right down there, and the switchbacks make this navigable. Now, as I come down this trail here, there are many hidden gems, things that have been hidden for years that not many people have seen. There are quite a few things that are honestly spectacular that you won't get a chance to see at any other point on any other trail that we have here at Bethel right now. One of those things being sharp-lobed hepatica. Due to the farms that used to be here on Bethel's property, hepatica is not a common species. It's a relatively common species of early spring flowering plant that you will see across, Wisconsin. However, due to farming, it is not that common on Bethel's property. But guess what? Here on Broken Rock, we have a wonderful patch of it just at the beginning of the trail, not far down at all. It starts just right up there. You also get a chance to spot some of the more, gigantic species of fern that we have here, like these royal ferns. These are fantastic. One that you'll really only see here on this trail, or just on the other side of Rockledge on Twisted Birch Trail. Now, here is one of the main and one of the main attractions for Broken Rock. It's that this trail heads directly underneath this cliff. Now, this is no joke of a cliff. This is a expansive cliff, probably about 100 meters long and about 50 feet tall. And it's overhanging in spots. It really creates this almost amphitheater of rock. Now, there really aren't too many places that you can go within Wisconsin or even across the United States that have trails that are directly underneath cliff faces like this. The only place that I can think of directly off the top of my head is Devil's Lake here in Wisconsin. And this is a phenomenal, relatively easy to get to trail where you can come here and go directly underneath these cliff faces and look at them from a perspective that not many people have ever seen them from before. Now, I am still standing here, and I'm still in the shade. I'm at the base of this cliff here. There's a little bit of sunlight peeking through the trees here, but this is not like Main Cliff. Main Cliff is a south-facing cliff, and it will get a lot of direct sunlight, especially in the peak heat of the middle of the day, you know. However, here, the sun is relatively blocked by the cliff and by trees that grow here. And that's because we are on a northeast facing cliff. And because of that, you have a different community, as you just saw up there, of plants and animals that will live here. Fungi even that will live here due to the cooler, wetter conditions created by this northeast facing cliff. Now I have gotten to below the base of the cliff. It is still dropping off into lower parts of the valley to my left, and up there we still have the cliff. It's not super dry, but it's not super wet yet. And because of that, you have a southern mesic forest, a place where you have species such as elm, red maple, some old black walnut, and a few other species here that are really dominating this area. But really, those ones that I just named are the ones that you will find here on this trail, Twisted Birch. Now, as you walk down this middle part of the trail, that's not quite the bottomlands wetland area and not on the cliffside yet, this middle section used to be more of a prairie ecosystem. And I've seen a few pictures that depict that, but also you can see that there are a few old cedars that are here. Cedars do not live within a forest. They do not like being shaded out. You will see them actually growing in the middle of prairies. They will pop up in prairies and start invading those prairies. They are a pioneer tree species of sorts. And now we are truly within the bottom of the valley. This is just about the lowest point of the valley, and there's a creek that is running right next to me here, and we have a true wet prairie right here. Take a look at these. Look at all these cup plants. You can see Food Village Cliff in the background, and you can look back up to Rock Ledge, which is somewhere within those trees there. And boom, hello. At the base of it all, we have these cup plants. A vital species for Wisconsin's ecosystems, and one that is actually relatively cool and how it plays such a large role within Wisconsin's wet prairies. But there's a little bit of water down in there, and that's how it gets its name cup plant, because these leaves form like a little cup and will take in that water. And because there's water presenting like a cup almost, it's too perfect not to drink out of. And so many species will use it to literally drink out of, such as birds, insects, things like that. And as soon as you get insects, you'll have things preying upon the insects, like birds. So birds not only get water, but they get food. And then they'll also get food from the seeds of the plant. And now, since the birds can get water here, let's say they eat insects too. There can be birds that can come here, drink water, and eat insects, but there can also be birds that can come here, drink water, and then they can eat these seeds once they are ripe. And these seeds will then be eaten. The birds will ingest them, and then they will fly somewhere else, and the birds will poop, and when they poop, they will release the seed. And the seed, as soon as it falls to the ground, will be ready to germinate either later that fall or most likely next spring. And so it's kind of a brilliant method for these plants to ensure seed dispersal method, which is birds, will stay around for even longer by providing it food and a nice little drink. Now, as we look here at this part of the trail, we're on one of the more special parts of the trail here, in my opinion. We have lots of cup plants, as you can see in the background there, but also in this area, we have this here. Now, this is another sunflower species, and this is a true sunflower species in the genus Helianthus, which is the genus of sunflowers. And what these sunflowers are called, they're called sawtooth sunflowers, and they are a classic species of Wisconsin's prairies, tall grass prairies, and wet to wet mesic prairies here in Wisconsin. They are an indicator of late summer or early fall, and will not bloom until at least the end of August. So you can see they're just getting ready there. They have their flower heads that are a little spiky in there, but they're not blooming yet, not even close. It will take a couple more weeks before these are ready to bloom, But once they do, get ready, because this is the only spot on Bethel's property where you can see these growing wild. There are a couple that are around the Prairie Center, but those were put there. These are kind of special because they were naturally here. No one put these here. They just kind of showed up. And this is the only place on the property where you can come and see these late fall or late summer blooming sunflower species. How nice. They cap off the year for flowering plants. Not a lot is going to flower later than those species there. So it's kind of like a nice little grand finale of sorts. And we find ourselves back in the forested area with the creek. There's the creek. It's flowing actually pretty well today. We just had some rain a couple days ago, and that is allowing the creek to flow nice and steadily today. How nice. And that is almost all of Broken Rock Trail. There's a little bit left here that you'll walk through. Again, another southern mesic forest. A nice way to end the trail. It's getting a little warm out here, and it's nice to be in the shade again. And if it's a real hot day, there's an even better way to cool off that I would think. And take a nice pump shower. Oh, refreshing. How nice. And that'll cool you off right away. That water is spring water, or it's well water, so it's coming from the aquifer, which is the same water as spring water. And that's about 55 degrees. And with that wonderful pump shower, I think that is the perfect way to end this video, because we are at the end of Broken Rock Trail. This is where it ends, right next to the pump. So if you're thirsty after a hike too, you can come down here, get that pump pumping, and fill up your water bottle. All right, thank you for watching this episode of Wildlife Wednesday, where a new trail was brought to light. Hopefully you can get outside. Maybe it's to Broken Rock. Maybe you come here and you hike down Broken Rock. If not, I hope you at least get outside, whether it's around the block, to a nearby park, whatever it may be. Make sure you get outside, and I will see you on the next Wildlife Wednesday.